by Rajita Singh from Broadridge. Giving a brief introduction, Rajita in many ways represents the changing face of India's IT/ITES industry, where human resource professionals are increasingly becoming strategic partners to the core functions. A management graduate by education, Rajita has been in the IT industry since 2000 and currently heading the human resources for Broadridge Financial Services India Private Limited. She started her career as a recruiter, rose to the top, and led the recruitment of ADP Private Limited, Hyderabad, before moving as the head of HR. She has spearheaded many progressive and diversified roles across the HR function and has won many youngest first to her credit. With this, please welcome her with a huge round of applause.
This appears to be a very serious group. People, I've attended two speakers before me. Very, very interesting conversations. You know, a lot of food for thought put over there, but looks like people don't want to participate. And make thank you, as always, you know, to bring life back to a forum. So my request is, I was thinking if I should be having the presentation at all or no, because if everybody's just going to look over there and say, no questions at all, then I have a problem. So let's start with fundamentals, okay? We are actually back to the drawing board. And you know, when you attend these, they've done. I'm not going to take any company names, which is why you don't even see a Broadridge logo over here, because I'm sure they'll kill me for putting a drawing board before getting started. So that the context, this data is as of 2020, late 2020. Of course, the new reports have gotten published. But the market where we are present at the moment, you know that India has over 50% of the market share in offshore outsourcing. The question I have for all of you today, and I need answers because I'm not going to move from the slide, so I'm between you and lunch, choice is yours, is how many of you have had conversations with your counterparts wherein they have said that if India can't do it, I'll go to Philippines, I'll go to 𝗥𝗲𝗶𝗺𝗶, I'll go to a smart shoring, I'll go to Brazil, wherever. Show of hands. Wow, that's very minimalistic actually. Maybe we still have a lot of room to go. But if you look at it from an IT-enabled services or a product company, we've been having these conversations for a while now. Do things actually go there? My answer is no, because of course everybody talks of the cost arbitrage, right? And then when you look at the cost arbitrage, the new thing that's come in is now because it's COVID, everybody is working from home. So we are location agnostic. Then there are a lot of gig organizations that have taken up, and people can work from anywhere. Then there's a lot of moonlighting that's happening. Some say it's ethical, some say it's not ethical. So in such a scenario, what do you think we should be doing as a country? If you see, earlier we used to just talk, you know, from an enhanced technology aspect, how do you make remote working work and things like that, right? When COVID happened, I can give you our example. We have very strict contracts and when we are actually very bound by regulations in the United States, we could not work from home. And the minute the pandemic happened, within 3.5 weeks, we had 4,000 offices in India. Very proud of them and telling, yay, and then, you know, of course, those stories, somebody sitting on the bike and carrying the desktop at home, all the good stuff, right? While we took the accolades on that, we also thought it was very immature-ish on our part to do it because we should have anticipated something like that coming. Then you move to the new ways of working. Agile has been, honestly, in my opinion, a very abused word. Some people don't even understand what the real agile is. So we're trying to figure out agile. We've made pods. It's been very successful in rollouts for a few of our products in the US and the European markets. And we've not just had proof of concept, but we've had go lives basis that. But then the flexibility, I think that's where we need to actually think of. And of course, I come from an HR background, so I'm going to say, as an organization, do I provide that kind of an ecosystem, a process, a structure for people to understand what flexibility is? Flexibility, again, is very overrated because I'll say, yeah, flexible, don't come at 10 o'clock, start logging at 11 o'clock. That's not flexibility, if you ask me in the truest sense. It's just amount of, yeah, you're going to change your work timing a bit, and that's pretty much it. You move to the ecological awareness part of it, right? Wherein people said, with remote work, I'm saving time. How many of you are from Bangalore? Is everybody from Hyderabad or some from Bangalore too? Just two, okay. I'm sure you'll appreciate people in Bangalore don't want to come back to work because it takes 2 hours one way, right, to commute. So we're trying to figure out how does this entire thing work in our favor, right? And social distancing. Nobody's wearing a mask over here, with the exception of one that I see. Nobody's wearing a mask today. You go to the airport, sorry, 3, now I just counted 3, I just saw them. So if you look at it, you go to the airports, it's mandatory to wear a mask in the aircraft with no social distancing. But when you're walking, it's all right. So I think these are the contradictory statements that we keep making to ourselves. We need to understand what part of the business are we in, really. So changes to the current landscape. Obviously, you see one in the middle. I was very inspired by this movie, so I went back and saw one after I saw 2. So coming to the point, I think over here what I'm trying to do is, these factors are very important for business leaders as much as shared services leaders, or for that matter, technology or the remainder, HR, IT, finance, etc. Continuous learning is going to be key. So how are we as an organization putting a very concerted approach on continuous learning? The second is new management skills. This guy came out of nowhere. He had almost 2,000, 3,000 people willing to give their life for him. I'm not saying that that's the industry we're in, but at least you need that amount of loyalty, focus, and people wanting to work with you. So that's very important. The third, of course, remote working is here to stay. The other is on building efficiencies. People are talking a lot on cost. I don't know how many of you all have those conversations every day, but then you need to understand, what is your parent company actually? Is it under pressure? Are they wanting to reduce further costs? There were a few announcements just this week about variable pay either being held back or delayed, or some saying we're going to pay 100%. So again, I think it's a story with regards to how do you want to project yourself to your associates, how do you want to be perceived by your clients when you make these statements, and what exactly is your real intent. And this is where I think that integrity of intent comes very, very strongly, and this essentially comes from the leadership team. It doesn't come bottom up, it comes top down. The next over here is on collaboration, new technologies, collaboration of new technologies. I can say anything and everything, right? But ultimately, if I'm not going to use it, there's no point. And I'll give a very dirty example. I'm known for bad analogies, so I'll still do it. When I go out, there's a new cuisine that's come in, let's say Italian, and there's a dish in it, and I tried it, and I say, oh wow, that's great. And I'm like coming back, I come back home and I'm like, I'm going to do this every day because it's great, and I want to mix it with this and that and all that, and try to see how it works out. Within a week, I'm going to go back to the same dal, chawal, rajma, because that's how I am. And that's exactly what's happening in collaboration of technologies. While I can give you the best, but if I'm not going to use it, there's no point. There's a saying somebody said, a fool with the tool is still a fool if he doesn't know how to use the tool. And that's pretty much what we end up doing most of the times. Most importantly, culture. Culture, I think we've had a lot of passionate discussions, just the last 3 months on culture. Did we retain our remote culture? Did we continue, the new people who came in, because we hired almost about 1,500 people in the last 1.5 years. All remote, did not see anybody in person. They joined from home and we sent laptops home, did all the good stuff. But are they inducted into the organization the way it is? And does culture stay the way it is supposed to be? It doesn't, it evolves, because as organization evolves, culture evolves and people evolve. So that is something that I think we need to essentially look at. Here is my strategy, which I think is pretty simple. And this is not the ikigai wherein I'm going to say if you operate out of the center, it will work. We're going to swing across all of this. The foundation is about, being remote at scale. We need to understand that that's here to stay. We need to understand from an organization and people standpoint, what part of shared services is critical for us, how are we going to roll it out, what are we going to do. Tech enablement, like we already just spoke of leveraging it, and operational excellence. Nowadays, the conversation is not about FTRs and it's not about how many times my dashboard is green. It's about how much money I saved by doing it. How much did I automate? Which bot did I deploy? And how did I take it forward? So I think there are 3 aspects to this that I want to call out, and that's called the F cube, because everybody has their own analogy. I also want to give one. The first F stands for flattening. That is immediately, what is the need, how am I going to do it? The second F stands for fighting. You need to essentially hedge and do a lot of scenario building. We all read The Black Swan. Some of us may have also read about Anti-Fragility by Taleb. So if you look at it from these two concepts, it's important to understand, am I prepared for what's coming? And the last is future, which essentially means that what is my new reality going to be like? Some of us just said that, when you look at the new generation, they have new expectations. I think they have the same expectations. The only thing is that they're exposed a lot more. We've come from a very scarce upbringing when we were growing up because of the environment that we had. Today it's abundance in every single sense. So how do you handle that abundance that's coming to you is what's important. And while we are on the strategy, I also want to call out a few drivers or levels from an organization standpoint that we need to be looking at. One is ownership. I think there was the earlier speaker who spoke about ownership, he spoke about alignment and also innovation. So these are the three which I think would be a complete source of success. And this is the new normal. Because we spoke of GCCs, I wanted to share with you what's happening in the GCC ecosystem today. We started off with 1.0, which was about delivery centers, low labor cost arbitrage. It's a great place to come. Then GCC 2.0 was about building innovation centers. You have a skilled talent base and capability centers across R&D and so on and so forth. GCC 3.0 is where we are all focusing to get to, which is, you are going to manage GCCs across geographies, not just in India. I think it's a great ambition to have. There are some companies which have also evolved there, but I think everybody should have such an ambition to have. Then global leadership roles. I will very modestly boast that we have a lot of global leadership roles out of Broadridge in India, several of them. And that's what makes the difference. You don't need leaders coming in from different countries and telling you, this is the strategy, go execute. We will devise the strategy, we will execute, and we will take others along with us. That's how it needs to be. And larger role in managing TPP relationships. This is fun, okay? So what happens is, all TPP essentially stands for third-party providers. Most of them are based out of India, which are large scale. They will go to the corporate or the parent company and say, this is what I have for offering. They will do a direct sign up with them, and then it'll come and roll out all over the place. And the fact is, if my office is here, they're sitting here, but I have to go to the US, and then I have to go to them, and then they will come to me. So we essentially need to start playing larger roles in that, wherein we are owning that entire contract, gig working, and moving off the T&M model on things like this. And most importantly is critical mass of GCC operations empower leadership to set remote at scale norms. I think everybody has been doing it in their own share, so just wanted to call that out. This is a little busy slide, but I also thought this is an intellectual slide, so I put it. What I'm trying to get at is when we essentially sign up for the next level of shared services, and we say that, yeah, this is what we want to do, there are largely just two aspects that I would focus on the axis. One is the acceleration and the other is the longevity. And I'll just leave it over here so that you all could do it, and time is up, so I will open it up for questions. Thank you for staying awake. Yes?
Thanks a lot for your presentation. It was quite nice. Can we go back to your slide about GCC 1.0, 2.0 and 3.0?
You remind me of my college. I just finished my PhD and my prof would do, can you go back to that slide and explain what do you mean by that? I guess they'll have to pull it out, so just a moment. Yeah.
See,
yes,
I don't know how many agree, but I think the biggest challenge for shared services leaders would be to go from 1 to 3, skipping 2. Because there's a lot of shared services here in India where leaders are at 1. The shared services models are at 1. And the reason for that is their parent company still want to micromanage. So do you have anything, like, can you tell this group, and do you have any experience how you can go from 1 to 3, skipping 2, because that's your new normal?
I'll tell you, you need to make a raita. So I don't cook, just as an example, but I love giving cooking analogies. It's not easy to move from 1 to 3, absolutely right. But on the 2, how do you get to the 2? It's a combination of things, and that's why I called it a raita. Essentially, what you need to do is you are going to call the bluff on some of the cases. Historically, right, India as a country, we've been ruled by the Britishers, and we've been used to order taking. So if somebody comes and tells me this is how you're going to do it, and I'm giving you head count, we're like, oh wow, head count. Can I just be myself? I'm going to say BS. I care a shit about what head count you're talking about. I have talent, I'm going to do it on my terms. So I think at times you need to take, you need to have a spine and stand up. You will not always get top management support, including in India. It's a call you want to take, what's important to you. That's one. Second is there are others in the system wherein you can play good cop, bad cop. So you have your associates going and saying, I want to do this, I'm hungry, and many a times, you know, when you work as GCCs, they believe that they know all the people over here and we have a great connect and we are one team, dream team, something, you know, you have different slogans that everybody comes up with. They should actually go and say what they want to do. And at times people will buy that. The third, what you could do is a lot of branding in the Indian market. And I don't mean big budget branding. Just get your guys to write blogs, be seen at forums like this, talk about what your company is doing. There'll be automatically indirect pressure that gets built that, yeah, India is doing so much. We used to do something called a company day pre-COVID, wherein we would have around 10,000 people together, and we would essentially, sorry, that was family day. Company day would be about 4,000, 5,000 people together, all the leaders, and telling them what we are capable of doing. And when people come, you know, we end up doing great visits, taking care of the logistics, and food is good, meetings were good, presentations were good, clap, clap, clap. No. What are your takeaways and what are we getting out of this visit? We have made that a part of life the last 15 years, which is why I very proudly will say that we are at GCC 3.0 and more.
Great, thanks.
Sorry, there was one question behind. 1 second with him, and then maybe we'll take it offline after that. Okay? Yes, I could see it on your face. That's why I said offline.
Rajita, I heard you telling about continuous learning, right? So this is a very good buzzword. I have been hearing since last 20 years, but I have hardly seen companies doing something about it. Okay, most of the people are in their comfort zone. I have not seen, you know, companies recognizing or incentivizing continuous learning. Would like to know, if in your company you incentivize or, you know, how do you promote continuous learning?
Can I know your name, please?
My name is Rakesh.
Rakesh, so I disagree on a fundamental level. It is not the company's duty to teach you continuously. Like, I just finished my PhD. It is the 𝗥𝗲𝗶𝗶 story. Hold on, let me finish. I know we have a time crash and we'll have the debate post. I can continuously tell you what you need to do, but if you don't have it from within you, it's not going to help. And I will not incentivize you also for upbringing, for, you know, upskilling yourself. It's your job. Do you like yourself? Do you like your life? If you love yourself, you will do something about it. And what I will do is I will provide for platforms. You know, if you say I want to go to ISB and I want to study, say, do the PGP Max, I'll say, great, I will do it. I'll do 50%, you do 50%. That's where the skin is in the game. You know, it's like, now it's become, come humor me, I will continuously learn. I'm not doing it. If you're in that market, then, you know, my thing is, it's better that we call it quits.
Rajita, I completely agree on that, because I myself, I am a founder of a startup, and I can tell that, you know, 99.999% of the people may not, you know, continuously learn and start looking for, you know, or create opportunities. They have to be encouraged, you know, not everybody is in the same mold, but I'm asking for those sort of people who just want to be, you know, a part of the mass, but still want to add a lot of value to their life, career, and eventually to the organization.
So I'll give you a short answer. Daniel Pink, drive. That should help.
Thank you.